Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar with Babylon Micro Farms and Green Our Planet. I would like to introduce Michael and Christy. Michael, please take it away.
Thank you, Jack. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us. This should probably only go on for about 30 to 40 minutes or so. We're going to learn a lot about Green Our Planet and their curriculum with outdoor gardens and hydroponic farming. I'm Michael. I'm your host. I am the Strategic Partnerships Manager at Babylon Micro Farms, and we are on a mission to empower businesses, communities, and schools across the world with the ability to grow their own food on site all year round in a way that captivates the imagination about where our food comes from. And one of our partners in this endeavor, especially within the K-12 space specifically, is with Green Our Planet. And with me today is Christy Carlson. She's the Director of Business Development for Green Our Planet. Christy, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much, Michael. It's so great to be here. And I'll do a quick introduction of myself. Again, I'm Christy Carlson. I am with Green Our Planet. I'm the Director of Business Development at Green Our Planet. And Green Our Planet is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping teachers succeed with their students with outdoor garden programs and hydroponics programs. So we really are all about curriculum and coaching and community and helping teachers succeed with what they're doing in their classrooms.
That's
And I've
awesome.
been I oh sorry, Michael. I've been a teacher. I was a teacher for 4 years on and off, actually. I taught in Las Vegas for 1 year, and then I taught in Plainfield, Indiana for 3 years. I did teach during the COVID shutdown, so that was that was a
Back to the
lot.
old
But
world.
yes, and I've actually been back and forth between teaching and Green Our Planet. And so that puts me at a total of 4 years of teaching and 4 years at Green Our Planet.
Awesome. And Christy, what is the thing that makes you the most happy in your job with Green Our Planet?
Honestly, it is the joy that we are able to bring to students and how we're enabling the teachers to bring that joy to their students. I was a teacher. I know what it's like to be a teacher, and to know that we are providing programs that are getting students excited about STEM and what they're doing, and really getting students excited about the environment. That's really what gets me up out of bed every day and to keep doing what I'm doing.
Well, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. I'm glad our paths have crossed in this world. And so I think to start off, before kind of jumping into the specifics of your curriculum, how you empower teachers with the resources to teach hydroponics and outdoor gardening in the classroom, um, big picture, Christy, what is hydroponics and how does it differ from traditional outdoor gardening?
Yes. So hydroponics, a lot of people know what hydroponics is now. It's become a little bit more popular, but just a little recap. If you don't know what hydroponics is, that's still okay. It's a method of growing plants without soil, essentially, and you use mineral nutrients in water that the plants can then absorb. And the technique allows plants to grow with their roots exposed directly to the nutrients in the water. So really, essentially, it's gardening without soil, if you had to boil it down to a few words.
That's awesome. And you guys provide both the curriculum for outdoor gardening and indoor gardening, and you serve 1,000 schools, I believe, across 44 states.
Yeah, lots and lots of schools. We've been doing this with outdoor gardens since about oh gosh, since 2014, I believe. And then with hydroponics, that started in about, I would say, 2017 or so. So yes, we've been doing this a while, and really the biggest difference between outdoor gardening and hydroponic gardening is that hydroponics doesn't involve soil, and it's also just a more controlled environment that can be done indoors. So we're big fans of both, and but hydroponics is really, really cool to bring into schools.
That's awesome, especially in areas that you can't traditionally go
Yes.
shorter grow seasons. And for most schools, at least from what I'm aware of in America, you kind of only catch students with outdoor gardens all the time on the very beginning of the school year and the tail end, just with kind of the growth cycles of depending on where you live. And with hydroponics, you're able to grow all year. And so that really does just open up a lot of windows for enrichment and engagement around, bringing students back into nature. We're in the age of the attention economy and, everything being in digital learning. And you guys are doing amazing work with getting students really just back to, like your mission statement says, the connecting students to the wonders of the universe. And so we are
Yes.
big fans of you. Um, First off, okay, so big macro picture, everybody should understand the difference between those two methods of growing now. So how does both of these with your curriculum, how does this impact student engagement and life skills development kind of in a broad range? You guys serve elementary, middle, and high school, and there's different ways in which you're utilizing your curriculum in those age ranges with their learning and textbooks. But broad scale, how does this impact student enrichment?
Yes, that's a great question. And honestly, I could answer this in so many ways because it's what we have learned from, we've done research studies and we've received, lots of feedback from our teachers. Having a hydroponics system in your classroom will, just having it there will get the students engaged. They will be interested. The hydroponics units are just cool in nature. They just, they are. And then when the students really start to take ownership of it and they start to really care for it and think of it as their own, and then they start getting plants growing in their hydroponic system, they get super super excited. And the engagement that we have seen from teachers using hydroponics in the classroom goes way up when the students are having ownership over their hydroponics units. And our program is all about that. It's all about helping the teachers give that ownership to the students and let them be exploratory with the hydroponics units.
That's awesome. So delegating out tasks of ownership of the
Yes.
systems. I know with our STEM garden system, there's, kind of manual tasks involved, like filling in the water reservoir, adding in the nutrients, testing for EC and pH, and being able to run experiments in the classroom based off of those variables. And I'm curious, so the curriculum that you guys offer, it's all video based, correct?
Yes, a lot of it is video based, and then there is we have an online portal where you can access the curriculum, and the portal will tell you what the lesson plan is and different activities, and then there's a video component that goes right along with it. And the video component that was actually born out of the COVID shutdown. We found a way for our teachers to still use our curriculum with not being in person with their students. So the videos actually do go through the entire curriculum lesson. And almost every single one of our lessons has that video component with it. You
That's
could do it
awesome.
with or without the video though.
Right. So functionally, they're watching the videos, that's kind of bringing a lot of the concepts to life, and then the teacher is able to then take those lessons, delegate it out to the students, and then the students are taking ownership of what they just learned from the video and from the teacher's understanding, I'm sure, of the system, and then they're
Mhm.
getting to be the farmers themselves.
Exactly. Yes. And it's all very inquiry based. So the students, they're not just told what to do. They're more so told like, hey, this is the problem and now it's up to us to figure it out. And so it really involves the students, it involves their critical thinking skills and their creativity as well.
Do you see an increase in collaborative community building amongst the students, like them really just creating, we talk about community farming, but that sense of community in the classroom, do you see that this system,
Yes.
this curriculum really does enhance that on a day-to-day?
Yes, absolutely. And not only just within the classroom, but the students are also bringing it back home. We had, for example, a school in Texas, one of the teachers told us that they were harvesting lettuce from their hydroponics units, and their students were able to take home an entire head of lettuce. I think they were doing this with their garden club, an entire head of lettuce home to their families, and the students were so excited about that and what they're doing in their classroom with their hydroponics units that then they now all want hydroponics at their own house. And so it's, yeah, not only them together in school, but it's also the parents are getting involved in it now. It's really cool to see that grow because not everyone knows what hydroponics is. I mean, it is getting more popular now, but not everyone really knows a whole lot about it. So it's really, I mean, even just that, that's that many more people who now know what hydroponics is and know it can come from a hydroponics unit. It's like an entire head of lettuce for all of your students in garden club.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you more so how did the families first react to the indoor hydroponics programs and even your outdoor gardens? Because I know you said the students are bringing it back to their families, and honestly, that's, how you create impactful generational changes and mindset shifts
Yes.
around, being self-sovereign to grow your own food. That is such it's becoming more and more rare, and we all want to change that. But how did the families first react when they see the systems themselves in the classroom, when they see this garden being built? And then I guess after the fact, are they reporting back to you with positive attitude changes at home with, even maybe taking ownership of uh, their own environment a bit more outside if they have a yard or a garden at home? Are you seeing those bridges to from their school life to the home life and the parents reporting back to you on that?
Absolutely, that we actually have some stats from our most recent research findings on that, and I'll get to that in just a second. But the first reactions that it seems that parents always have is like, "Oh, wow, this is, this is different. This is new. This is something that I haven't done before." And that, I mean, I'm a parent myself. I have a 3-year-old, so she's not, she's not in in the elementary school age or middle school or high school age yet where she's doing any of this at her school, but for me, I would think like, oh wow, this is some really cool technology that they're doing here and they're growing plants with it, and it's amazing that you can connect those two things, technology and growing plants. And we did survey parents and ask them what their students were saying at home and what they are bringing back home. And we found, I have this written down here. So 63% of the parents that were surveyed reported that students expressed interest in home gardening um, and hydroponics following their Green Our Planet program. And that was pretty big because not all students come home and talk about everything that they do at school, and they are talking about their hydroponics and what they're doing. And the really cool thing for the students is that they can teach their parents about it because they likely know more about hydroponics than their parents if they're doing this in their school.
That's awesome. Are the parents coming and getting involved, volunteering and coming and doing harvests with the kids?
Yes, there's lots of that going on in the schools that we work with. It's easy to kind of define what a volunteer would do in an outdoor garden. But for hydroponics, what's really cool is that the parents can come in and really learn about hydroponics and kind of
Mhm.
and participate in those harvests. We've had parents come in and do cooking demonstrations as well. So a parent can come in and harvest with the students and then do a little demonstration of making a salad and making the salad dressing and whatnot. So we love it when parents are involved in that way.
That's awesome. And I'm sure they're going to love seeing from a student's perspective, this is such a transferable concept where,
Yes.
most people learned general environmental sciences on, what plants need, water, nutrients, light, soil, et cetera. And you can explain the concepts and transfer all of
Mhm.
that to hydroponics. And like what you were saying, I love that the parents are getting educated on all this and the
Oh
kids are
yeah.
initiating that at home. So how are
Yes.
you then seeing the relationship in the classroom with the teachers' engagement? Because obviously right now teachers are incredibly uh,
Yes.
just often overworked, very just juggling a lot and adding another new thing to their life, a system that they may not be familiar with. That could be asking a lot of them. So what are you seeing in terms of the teachers' involvement with this? How does your curriculum benefit their lives?
Yes, that's a really good point to bring up. I know for a fact from my teaching experience that teachers are really, really overwhelmed right now. Adding another thing onto their plate is a lot for a teacher. What we really, really, really believe in at Green Our Planet is helping the teachers succeed with whatever they need. So
Mm,
we actually have coaches
mm.
within our program. So schools that are in our program have access to our team of coaches. And our coaches are there for the teachers with whatever they need. So they'll bring all of the if you're just starting out with the program, they'll bring the teachers through a comprehensive onboarding where they will go through everything from how to set up your system, how to, how to access the curriculum, and they make sure that we're not putting any extra work on the teacher. I mean, the teacher will have to, do things to help keep the hydroponics unit going, but we try to give them resources on how to best get their students involved and have their students do some of the jobs that need to be done. And really what we have seen is that the teachers who are in our programs, they get really excited about it because they like using the resources. They like the curriculum. They think hydroponics is really cool once they start using it. Um, and it's been a really refreshing surprise to see that. And our coaches, they will, if a teacher is asking for something, they will do their best to get that teacher whatever they're asking for. So whether it be a resource or something, we get asked for different resources all the time. And then over the summer, actually, we hire cadres of teachers to help us develop the resources so we can give our teachers exactly what they want and need and what will help them with their students.
That's awesome. So you guys are always evolving the curriculum as you go.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, absolutely.
I know you had said earlier when we were talking before the webinar that you guys are evolving the curriculum as well to high school age groups because a lot of
Yes.
it, so a lot of your focus being elementary and middle school, just because that pairs very well with their their environmental
Mhm.
science learning, just bringing those concepts from the textbook to life. Um, what is kind of the difference from a student's perspective in application of your curriculum based on those age ranges? So I guess in a nutshell, how is an elementary schooler going to utilize your curriculum and the farming systems? How would a middle schooler utilize it? And then how would a high schooler utilize it?
Yes, that's a great question. So in elementary, the curriculum is very inquiry based. So they're learning the general basics about hydroponics. It does follow Common Core and NGSS standards. So they are learning those concepts that they're supposed to learn and just using it alongside hydroponics. And then in middle school and high school, it gets a little bit more in depth. And especially in high school, it's broken down into there's a biology curriculum set. There is a physical science. I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. And um, I believe there's an environmental one. I may be saying this wrong, but and then there's actually a capstone project as well. So it gets way more in depth and more into the finer details as you get up towards high school. So it's it's really, and the middle school and high school curriculum, those were actually just developed and released last school year. So they are brand new and they are amazing. We have had really great reviews coming back from those from the middle school and the high school set. So we originally did start with just elementary, and then we had lots of interest from middle schools and high schools in this. And one other really cool thing that high schools primarily and middle schools too are doing is that they are doing something kind of like a hydroponics farm where they have a whole bunch of hydroponics units in their school and their students are using our program, but also running an entire they'll do a CSA. Is that what that word is that what the where they send food home
Right.
with anyone who wants to buy it, and just really cool things like that is what we're seeing from middle schools and high schools right now.
That's awesome. I can imagine that you're really helping them learn a lot about financial literacy and entrepreneurship as well with
Yes.
that.
That is a huge component. Yeah, yeah. I haven't touched on that yet, but financial literacy is something that is a big component of our programs. We actually do have financial literacy curriculum for elementary, middle, and high school. And the students go through a few as lesson sets, like 3 to 4 lessons in the financial literacy curriculum, and then they end up creating a business plan to take to a farmer's market. So they go through the lessons, they make their business plan, and then they have a farmer's market. Now it can be a farmer's market just at the school, or it can be something bigger. It can really be any type of farmer's market. And that has been something that our schools have really, really gotten into. You wouldn't normally think that you could really tie in financial literacy so much with hydroponics, but through farmers markets, you absolutely can. And it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. No, I wish we had that when I was in school. I got wood
I
shop
know, yeah.
and all of that, but we did not have anything like that in elementary or middle school especially. And so I can imagine if you've experienced something like this throughout your high school years, you've already run your own little business. I can only imagine the kind of different career pathways that might be opened up for you. And so I'm curious on that note,
Yes.
what are the typical kind of on-roads, to STEM education, career paths, looking at agricultural and horticultural workforce development opportunities with this? I mean, you're kind of touching on a pretty macro problem across the
Mhm.
US in general right now, which is a huge shortage in agricultural workforce. And there's that a
Mm.
massive gap as well with STEM education paths that Tammy had talked about with us. And so I'm curious, what are the typical kind of pathways that a student may be interested in from this program?
Yes, we see a lot of different interest coming from the students, and I don't have this stat pulled up in front of me, but we did ask in our research what kind of jobs students are interested in who have participated in our programs, and lots of them are going to say farmer and things like that, but a lot of teachers are really integrating a lot of the technology and engineering pieces into this. So some students are starting to say engineering, and
Mm.
even students or teachers have even developed lessons and things that where they use coding and things like that to integrate it in with their hyd. It's really, really incredible the how many things you can do with it. So students are in all sorts of areas. And hydroponics, just in general, is becoming bigger and more popular, hydroponic farming. And it does take a big workforce to make that happen. And students are becoming interested in it. And they're interested in the environment, and that's really important.
Right, just the macro picture of, I guess, just the natural world in which we live in and being able to see their part in it from that perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, that just has to bring a level of self-awareness and compassion and empathy that just benefits their own life with, their relationships in general, the way that they treat the earth around them. I can only
Yes.
imagine you're for to for lack of a better term, you're sowing the seeds and planting the seeds in
Mhm.
their brain for a more beautiful world that we are all wanting to strive towards. And so to get to I think in my opinion, one of the most exciting things that you guys do, and what really kind of sparked a lot of our partnership with you as well is the Las Vegas Student Farmers Market. And
Yes.
this is kind of, again, when we first learned about what you guys were doing in Las Vegas with this, it gave us an entire new perspective on even what our equipment, our hydroponic farms could do in the world. And so could you just share broadly what is this Las Vegas Student Farmers Market and a little bit more about your farmerpreneur program, you call it?
Yes. Yes. So the Las Vegas Giant Student Farmers Market is so Green Our Planet's headquartered in Las Vegas. So we have lots of schools there. And twice a year we invite the students in Las Vegas to join our Giant Student Farmers Market. And these students they go through that financial literacy curriculum and they become farmpreneurs. We call them farmpreneurs, and they sell their produce and crafts and different things at the Giant Student Farmers Market. We've been doing this in Las Vegas since about, I think, 2015 or 16, and it's really grown into this incredible community day for Las Vegas people. And I used to live in Las Vegas, and I was just really, really proud when I saw the community come together for the farmers market. And it's such a big hit now that we've had to move it to places where we have more space to have more people and more students involved. I actually do have a video that I can share that kind of gives a little highlight reel of one of our recent farmers markets. I can definitely share that, and it gives a better description on what that actually is. So I will present this, and I'm going to make sure my sound is correct, and I'll share this video. It's about 1.5 minutes.
In the past few months, teachers have been teaching the students how to be entrepreneurs. Well, actually, we call them farmpreneurs because essentially they're turning their hydroponic systems and their school gardens into businesses. So students learn how to write a business plan, how to do profit and loss, how to do a marketing strategy, and then the big day is today. They come to this market and they're farmpreneurs for the first time. So what we're trying to do at Greener Planet is empower the next generation of entrepreneurs.
I just feel great because I like selling stuff, and when I grow up and I want to start my own business, since I did this, I already have some practice on it.
What I'm learning is how to sell stuff and like marketing and how much stuff costs, and I really enjoy it.
What I'm learning today is how to process money and how to work a business. All the business things I'm learning is how much stuff costs, how much money I have in my budget, and how much I have to sell.
I'm a farmpreneur.
I'm a farmpreneur. I'm a farmpreneur.
I'm a farmpreneur. I'm a farmpreneur. Thank you for watching.
That is awesome.
It explains it way better than I can, so I always like to show the video. And we're planning on taking the blueprints of the Las Vegas Giant Student Farmers Market and taking it to other places with high concentration of Green Our Planet programming. So so it will soon not just be Las Vegas that gets to do that.
Yeah, if any of you guys are in Richmond that are on this
Mhm.
right now, we are in the process of bringing the Student Farmers Market to life in Richmond as well. And so if you're on the East
Yes.
Coast, definitely there's opportunities for this, and you guys are expanding and growing. You're all across the country, as we mentioned, in 44 different states, and you guys are the only STEMWorks accredited curriculum, from my understanding, correct?
Yes, we are STEMWorks accredited. It took a lot of work to get that accreditation. I was a part of that task force a few years ago at Green Our Planet, and yes, we are STEMWorks accredited.
Awesome. So all of this is amazing. And the idea, the concept, I think all of us see the value here and how it can enrich student learning, the teachers' lives, and the lives of parents and informed consumers going out into the world to go and change it. Idealistically, we're all on board for that. But Christy, how do you do it? Where's the funds come from? Are there grants involved for this? You know, how does a
Great
teacher bring
question.
this to life in their classroom? And then, Christy, after you answer that, we will probably move on to the Q&A in the chat. But that's where I'm the most curious. What grants are available, and how does this come to life on a financial side?
Yes, that's a great question again. With the financial side of things, we are a nonprofit, and with our programs, we often seek grants to help fund the schools that have our programs. We do often receive funding that's, specific to certain areas and whatnot. So we will, let a school know that is interested that there is grant funding available. Schools themselves can also apply for different grants that are available. Also tap into federal funding streams that are available at their school to help pay for programming. But we try to do all that we can to help reduce the price, and then just a combination of that, and then any grants that the school brings in as well can be helpful to pay for all of that. We actually do have, and I'll share this in the chat, some resources of different grants that schools can apply for any sort of project that has to do with gardening. It's a list that our coaches keep, and they'll put anything on there that could have anything to do with any teacher that's looking to implement in their classroom. So I'll share that resource. And we also have we have a resource on federal funding streams. And if you are interested in getting Green Our Planet programming, it will tell you how Green Our Planet programming would fit into the language of the federal funding streams. And so that's also in the resource, and I promise I'll put the link in the chat. And then also, a lot of our schools get corporate sponsors. They will go out and seek someone to sponsor their program. And so we do have resources and guidelines on how to do that as well. And I can share that in the chat.
Yeah, that'd be great. I think it may be at the very top of it. It'll say resources. If you guys scroll to the top, it'll say that, and it should be a Canva link.
I just put it in there
Okay,
again.
cool. Great.
Yep.
Awesome. And that's going to be a resource guide of all those grants. And on the note of corporate sponsorships, with our systems, the STEM Garden, if there's a corporate sponsor that wants to sponsor the STEM Garden as a unit, we will put their logo on the system. And so that's something that can be a positive affiliation for the school with that company, and really can also give them an opportunity to maybe even volunteer at the school and get involved with this as well. And so there are those pathways for funding, and Christy and I are both happy to chat with any of you guys after this webinar if you want to get more into the nitty-gritty details on how to actually go forward with this. But Christy, I'm going to move over to the chat now. We had a couple of really great questions. We're going to start off first with Benjamin Shaw. Very eloquent question here. He says, it's inspiring to see both of you so passionate about hydroponics and its application and education. And it's great to hear that after learning about the subject. Students are interested in setting up hydroponics systems at home. Here's his question. I'm curious if you could share any grand visions that you have for the future of combining hydroponics and education. What could this integration look like in the near or distant future? And do you have any ambitions, even fantastical ideas about what it could achieve? Big picture question. I
love this question.
Take it away. Dream big.
This might be the best question. This is the best question I've ever been asked. This is awesome. There are lots of grand visions that I have and that Green Our Planet has about hydroponics and education, and really we would love to see hydroponics in schools becoming the norm, and all students just knowing about hydroponics because that's what they do in school. And we want it to become something that's that important to the big decision makers who decide on what the standards need to be and what absolutely needs to be in schools. So we worked a lot with the Clark County School District in Las Vegas, and they have been very, very receptive of getting our programs into their school district. And it really, once they saw the benefits of what it does for their students, they really were on board. So that was amazing. And ambitions and fantastical ideas. Honestly, it would just be amazing if every single school in the entire United States or even the world had hydroponics in their schools and outdoor gardens as well.
That's awesome. I think I agree in that we can change the status quo in regards to our, the future of being in a symbiotic relationship with the planet and seeing ourselves not as separate from that, but one with our ecosystems. And I do think that, shaping the mind at such a young age to be able to be, again, I said it earlier, but really self-sovereign with being able to grow your own food, that's a skill no one can take from you. That's a skill that you take everywhere with you. And it changes the way you see everything in the natural world. It'll inform your habits. It changes your purchasing decisions, your nutrition and food decisions. You're a more healthy consumer traditionally when you have that relationship with your food and know where it comes from. And I think just the appreciation of nature just genuinely leads to, an individual that is seeing the world through not just the eyes of the individual, but truly through the collective whole. And I think that is something that is beautiful, where it's, yes, grandiose and fantastical of an idea, but I don't think that future is unattainable. I really believe that that's a world that we can live in. And I'm excited to see how this plays a part in that. So that's the macro question. We also had a great practical question for day to day from Faye. Faye is a chemistry teacher and very interested in hydroponics and wants to know how they can integrate hydroponics into their chemistry lessons, considering that they're gearing towards becoming a business school. So the
Ooh.
main question here is, do you have any chemistry lessons in particular with your curriculum?
Yes. So in our high school curriculum, I'm actually pulling it up right now. I was talking about this earlier about what's included with our um, high school curriculum. It is, one second, let me make this a little bit bigger so I can see. Physical science, chemistry, biology, and a capstone. So we do have an entire curriculum set in the high school curriculum that has to do with chemistry. So I don't think middle, I don't know if it's middle or high school teacher, but for high school, absolutely, we have a whole entire set on chemistry.
That's awesome. I guess I can kind of jump into this one a little bit as well with how the STEM garden could kind of tie into some of this. And so after Christy hops off, guys, we're going to jump through a couple of slides just on how our hydroponic systems functionally work, so you can understand that. But with the STEM garden in a chemistry lesson, again, you're involving a couple of components with adding nutrients into the water, being able to test EC and pH, and in our system, it's actually adaptable. So you're able to schedule different lighting and irrigation time signatures and mimic different environments within an enclosed system for that experimentation. So from a baseline, your control is going to be your EC and your pH, and the environment on each level of our system can be adjusted for that adaptable learning environment for experimentation. How are we and how are you involving corporate CSR to fund school projects? Christy, can you hear me?
Sorry about that. I was
That's all right.
muted. Corporate social responsibility is what we're talking about here, right? Yes.
I'm assuming so.
So Green Our Planet's a nonprofit. We work a lot with corporate sponsors as well as a nonprofit, and schools can do this too. But a lot of places have a mission statement that revolves around something with the environment, and we can tap into that and say, hey, like we are doing a lot to try to change these students' minds and what they think about with the environment with our programs. And we see that your mission statement has to do with that. And would you like to sponsor a school with their program? So we have done a lot of that in Las Vegas, especially with the casinos in Las Vegas. They're huge sponsors for us. They've been amazing. We've have a lot of great corporate sponsors in Las Vegas.
That's awesome. I think even you'd mentioned like local banks as well, like even just local communities and businesses with for individual schools can be that philanthropic donor and kind of jump in. But even on the macro level, these big companies and casinos and larger corporations with their social responsibility goals, being able to kind of have that positive impact in the classroom with this, I think is something that, the students will probably even have a different affiliation with those companies due to that. So that's awesome that you guys are already seeing a lot of companies want to get involved. And I think, this also is kind of one of the focal points of the problems that we're all trying to solve here is food insecurity, right? Like there
Yes.
massive amounts of food deserts across the country. We are seeing a really amazing integration with like regenerative agriculture and shifting the landscape there. And then hydroponics, being indoors, coming into more urban environments, especially on a large scale. How does hydroponics actually help with food insecurity?
That's a great point to bring up. One really cool thing that we've done is that we have brought hydroponics programs to schools near the Arctic Circle, where
Hmm.
they do not have any sort of easy access to fresh fruits and vegetables. And quite frankly, hydroponics is one of the only ways that some of the places we worked with can get fresh fruits and vegetables. And then we all know about food deserts, and there are lots and lots of places that don't have access to fresh fruits and vegetables, and that's a big problem. Hydroponics really helps with that. I mean, so do outdoor gardens, but hydroponics, the great thing about it is that you can be in a climate where it's snowing in the wintertime and you can still be growing food inside. So it helps a lot with food, with access to food, to healthy, fresh food.
Are you seeing with that, so obviously in areas where you just can't grow produce outdoors throughout the year due to climate reasons, how about in areas like inner cities where there are food deserts in general? Are you seeing hydroponics inform and educate communities in those areas with the ability to grow their own food and actually combat those food deserts?
Yes, absolutely. Hydroponics is perfect for an urban area that may not have space for an outdoor garden and may also be in a food desert. We have lots of schools who grow food hydroponically and even give it away to the community. Not, you don't always have to just sell it and try to, you don't have to do a farmer's market. You can just give it away for people in need. We have teachers who use the produce that's harvested in their backpack buddy programs where they're giving students food to take home over the weekend. So it's just really great to see that. And any school can do that. It doesn't have to be, in an urban area. Any school can do that. But in an urban area, you might not have room for an outdoor garden to do that. So you can do that with a hydroponic garden.
That's awesome. Chrissy, is there anything else that you would love for our guests who are joining us still today? What's the one thing that you would hope that they walk away from this conversation with?
I hope everyone walks away understanding the importance of getting students involved in something like hydroponics and how it can have such a huge effect on their life. And the more that we can enable the education system and teachers to do that, the better. And if you are a teacher and you are interested in Green Our Planet programming, check out that link in the chat. That will give you we host a program discovery webinar where we dive into the details of our programming. You can absolutely join that.
That's awesome. Well, Christy, thank you so much. We are at time here on on this webinar, but thank you so much for joining us today. I know I learned a lot, and I'm really inspired by the work that you guys are doing, and I'm really happy to be partnering with you guys. I think the next transition that we're going to have, if anybody needs to leave, feel free. Christy, you're welcome to roll as well. But we're going to move into a short couple of slides just on how Babylon Microfarms hydroponic systems work. But Christy, thank you so much today.
Thank you so much. I'm just gonna pop my email address in the chat too, in case anybody wants that. But thank
Perfect.
you so much. It was amazing to spend some time with you today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Happy Friday.
You too. See you, Christy.
Bye.
All right. And for those of you who are still on, I'm just going to share a couple of details more about the technical specs on our indoor hydroponic farming systems so that you can understand functionally how they work. Let me make sure. See if we can get this working today. Can everybody see my screen okay? I'm assuming so. There we go. Well, here at Babylon Microfarms, like I said, we are on a mission to empower businesses, communities, and schools to grow their own food on site all year round with curriculum providers like Green Our Planet. And so we've coined that the Seed to Plate experience. And our mission is to create community farming experiences that educate and enrich healthy consumers with exceptional produce and really cultivate a understanding and relationship that brings people closer to their food supply, informs their decisions, and inspires engagement about where our food comes from, and empowers them with that knowledge to do this themselves, to grow their own food. So we have two systems that we offer at Babylon. One of them is called the Gallery, and one of them is called the STEM Garden. Now, these two systems are very different in their function and kind of who they're geared towards. And so I'm going to break that down very quickly. So we're going to talk about the Gallery first. The Gallery is a no green thumb required system. And so what that means is we actually remotely manage these systems from our headquarters in Richmond, Virginia. We have a fleet of around 250 of these spread out around the world that we are controlling remotely. And so our end users don't have to have a green thumb because we have everything being monitored and managed remotely. There's an account manager over each farm that oversees the programmatic success of the system with the end user. We've developed an app and technology where the user is controlling everything on their app, and the app is guiding them through the process from their first germination onto the harvest. So we are dosing the water with nutrients. We are pulling that water in from a water line, and we are controlling those components so that you don't have to. Again, we are your farmers from a distance with these systems, and the relationship with us is a bit more hands-on. We actually send you your seed shipments every month with pre-seeded seed pods that have the produce that you decided you want to grow for that harvesting schedule. We send you the seeds and the cleaning supplies needed to take care of the system. And again, the guided growing app is communicating with the end user, guiding them through the step-by-step instructions on how to grow. Our account managers and our technicians are monitoring the health of the farm. There's cameras in place that are taking photos of the produce every 10 minutes and sending that back to our headquarters so that we can make sure that your farm is healthy. And if anything were to go wrong technically, our technicians are notified before a problem happens and gets out of hand so that you are able to continue growing. And so again, it's a very hands-on service. Again, our main thing here is that there's no green thumb required with the Gallery. So what's included into that, again, is the system itself, the app, the guided growing app, your account manager, and then again, that is a month-to-month relationship with us. And you're looking at about an hour to 2 hours of maintenance per week on this system. And you can grow over 280 plants at a time, and there's 50 different varieties that you can choose from. Our newest product, which is the evolution of the technology of the Gallery, but geared towards more hands-on learning, is the STEM Garden. And so the STEM Garden is a smaller size system that can grow 90 plants at a time. And the process is much more hands-on and interactive for students to actually learn how to be the farmer and to cultivate that green thumb. So a different end user and different requirement in terms of how much is involved with this system. So functionally, what's going on in here is that there's a water reservoir underneath that students are going to manually add water to. They're going to dose the nutrients. They're going to be testing for EC and pH to make sure those that are at optimal ranges. And then the system is circulating that nutrient-rich water throughout the system. Our Gallery works this way too. And everything on the system is controlled on this control panel. So instead of having us remotely manage the system for you, this system is controlled locally. Now, the benefit of this system is that it already comes pre-assembled, it's on wheels, and it just needs to be plugged into a wall outlet. A standard 120 volt 15 amp breaker, 3-pronged wall outlet is all it takes to get growing. And so students are learning how to be the farmer with this system. And with our other system, it's your farmer from a distance. So this would be more ideal for cafeteria spaces and places where you just want to grow a bit more volume. And the STEM Garden is perfect for that training and implementation with a curriculum like Green Our Planet. And so that's the high level view, guys, on our two systems and kind of how they differ. If you're interested in learning more about both of these systems and how you can bring them to life in your schools, we're going to be reaching out to each of you who attended with some information on how to actually go about talking with us and getting a quote and learning about how to bring hydroponics to life. And so on that note, guys, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate your time. And I really hope this was informative for you to be a healthy consumer and to go out and try to create that more beautiful world for yourself. On that note, everyone, thank you, and we look forward to connecting again later. See ya.